Hello all, welcome back to another Java tutorial. Today we are going to be going over arrays in Java. So what are arrays? Arrays are basically a way to store multiple values in a single variable. It's sort of like a list basically. So before we always had, let's say we had int age is equal to 50. We can only store one value inside of a variable. But now we're going to be able to store multiple values inside of one variable here. So in order to do that, we need to declare an array. So firstly, we need to tell what data type are we going to be using. So are we going to be using an int array or a string array? In this example, I'm going to just use the string array for now. And then we use the square brackets after the data type to let it know that we are using an array here. And then let's say we have cars, and this is just the name of the variable. So this is how we are going to declare our array in here, and then we can set some data in here now, so we can equal it to something in here. So let's say we pass in, let's say we don't pass in Mazda, we pass in BMW, and then we can also pass in Audi. Sure. So now we have a list of 3 cars in cars. So this is how we can store multiple values in one variable. There are a couple of things before I move on. There is also a way that we can store a specific amount, like we can set a limit. So let's say we have names, then we can equal that to new string. Now in here we can pass in a value, let's say 10. So this means the name can only store 10 values. Now once we declare the size of the array, we can't change the size of the array anymore. Same thing this way. Once we declare cars having 3 values inside, it will be set as 3 from now on, and we will not be able to alter the size of any arrays that we initialize at the start. So the size has to be done when we initialize them. There are ways to make the size bigger in arrays, but that involves creating a new array and then copying files into that new one. There are other ones as well, like an array list, which is very good, but that'll be for a future tutorial. But for now, let's stick to just arrays. So let's say I want to access some value in this array, in the cars array. So the way we'll do this is, so let's say we will store a string, and we'll have first car, and then let's say we want to store the first car in this list. What we'll do is we'll do the name of the array, cars, and then 0, like this, in the square brackets. So 0 is the first index. So whenever we talk about arrays and lists in any programming language, the first value is always index 0. So that's why we have 0. If we want to access the second index, or the second value, we'll use index 1. The third value will be index 2. So I can show you now. So if we print out the first car, see, we get Mazda because that's the very first car, even though we have 0. But because we have 0, this is the very first value, or it's the very first index. We start off at 0. So if we want to access the second one, we'll do 1, BMW. I'll just rename this to car. It might get a bit confusing. So, and then let's say I want to access the third value, I'll have to do the second index. Audi, just like that. Now let's say we want to change some sort of value in this list here. So let's say we change Audi. We want to change Audi to something. So the way we'll do this is we'll call the list again, or the array, so cars, and then what index do we want to change? So is it index 0, 1, or 2? So index for Audi is 2, so we'll do the square brackets 2, and then we just equal it to something. Let's say we change it, I don't know what we can change it to, we'll just change it to golf, I don't know. Yeah, so now what we're doing is we are getting the list of cars here, and then we're getting the second index, which is the third value Audi, and we are changing it to golf. So now if we print out cars 2, you can see, if I run this, see, firstly it was Audi, so we printed this out here, so I can actually just, let's do it here, so it's a bit easier if you don't need this. So if we run this again, so firstly you can see we have Audi, so Audi for cars, the second index, and then we change that index of Audi to golf, and then when we print it out again, you can see that now it's changed to golf. So that's how we change the values. Let's say we want to get the size of this list, so like how big this list is. It's very simple. So we can start as an int. We go size is equal to, then we give it the name of our array, which is cars, and then we simply do dot length, semicolon. So this will start the size of our array, and let's say we want to print out the size. So size. Now whenever we print out size, you can see the size of our array is 3. If we add in another one, so let's say we add in Mercedes. If we run this, you can see the size is now 4 because that's the size of our array cars. So that's basically it for arrays. Just for the start, there are a lot more things you can do with arrays, but for this video, I think the basics are pretty much covered. And I'll see you in the next video of how we're going to loop through this array using for loops. So I'll see you then.